We just had Easter here in Austria, which I'm pretty sure Easter's the same time around everywhere in the world. And traditionally, in Carinthia, where my wife's family's from, you have ham. So this year, I ordered it from a local farmer down there in Carinthia. Very good ham, but as always, there was way too much leftovers because you always order too much. So I was thinking what to do with the leftovers. So I thought I'd make the Austrian version of a pasta bake, which is called Schinkenfleckerl. Schinken, which is ham in German, and Fleckerl, which is this little square pasta. Also, what makes this different from a regular pasta bake is there is no cheese. You make a bechamel sauce, which is a French technique, and pasta is Italian. It's a bit of a mismatch of cultures going on here, I think. But let's start with the pasta that I'm gonna make myself. I'm using pizza flour. Well, it says it's pizza flour, but you can also use it for pasta. All right, I'm gonna start with busting some eggs straight into my stand mixer bowl. All right, then we'll just give those a little mix to get them started. Then we'll add the flour straight on top. All right, then we add some salt. Now we get it onto the stand mixer and start mixing. All right, once you've starting to come together, you want to give it a little scrape down, add the water, close it back down, keep on mixing. All right, after you've kneaded it for about 5 minutes, you want to get it out onto your work surface. All right, now you just want to get it into a nice little bowl. And then you want to lightly oil a bowl with some olive oil, just a little bit. Get your dough in, just cover it in that olive oil. And you want to set a plate on top and just let it rest at room temperature. After you've given the dough a good rest, it's time to roll it out. Could use a rolling pin, but to save my wrists, I'm going to use my stand mixer for this one with the lasagna sheet attachment. So you want to have a bowl of flour handy. You want to give it a good sprinkling. Then you're going to rip a chunk of dough off, cover the rest up and put it aside for the moment. Now you just want to coat your dough in some flour, get it into a rough, even, rectangular-ish shape. Don't be scared to use a lot of flour. It's not actually going in the dough, it's going on the outside. Turn your stand machine on, and you just want to give it a little bit of flour in between the rollers. Now starting on the widest setting on my Kenwood stand mixer, it's 0, and you just want to feed your dough through. Alright, once you've fed it through once, make sure you put a bit more flour on there. And before I go down another number, I like to feed it through twice on the 0 setting. Once you've fed it through twice, you just want to fold the dough over itself like that. Give it another little push down. And you want to start feeding it through your stand mixer again. Still on the widest setting. One notch at a time. If you feel your dough's getting too sticky, make sure you sprinkle some flour on the outside, because if you get it all stuck up in this rolling machine, you've got a world of hurt on your hands. So just every now and again, if you feel you need to, just sprinkle a little bit of flour on the outside and keep going down one number at a time until we got it nice and thin. I went down to number 6 on my stand mixer, which is just see-through, I would say. So I just cut my sheet into half to make it easy to work with. Now I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more flour on top, flip it over, a little bit more flour. You want to cut these into about 1 by 1 centimeter squares, which you don't have to get a ruler out, but try to make them even. So I'm going to cut them all like this first. Now I'm just going to cut a couple of them to show you what I'm doing. And after you got them cut, you go back, cut them into squares. It's homemade pasta, people. If it's exactly perfect, I'd be worried. Okay, I've got my big cutting board lined with some parchment paper. I'm just going to sprinkle the parchment paper with a little bit of flour. We're just going to put them on this parchment paper and let them hang out there until we've gone through and cut up all of our pasta sheets. Once you've got them all cut, it's time to clean down a little bit before the wife gets angry. Having a handy dandy bench scraper makes short work of the cleanup. Alright, next is to make a quick bechamel. So we're going to add the butter to the pot and let it melt. Okay, once your butter's melted, go ahead and add your flour. And then we'll go ahead and get that mixed in and cook out the rawness of the flour. Make sure you don't get too much colour on it, because we're making a blonde bechamel here. Now I've got my milk and cream already mixed together. I'm just going to add it a little bit at a time and get it all mixed in. The reason why you add it a little bit at a time like this, so it doesn't get all lumpy. And it's looking nice and silky and smooth like that. You want to add a little bit of salt. Give that a mix in. And we just want to let this cool down a little bit before we add our egg yolks. Once your bechamel's cooled down, I also transferred it into a different bowl so it'll cool quicker. I've already separated my egg yolks from the whites, and we're just going to add the yolks to the bechamel, and we're going to mix these in. We're going to add the sour cream, and then we'll get that all mixed in. Alright, you want to get some butter in your baking dish and get it spread all over. But after you get it all nicely buttered, you want to spread it with some breadcrumbs. Just a light coating like that. Now we're going to whisk these egg whites to stiff peaks. I could use my machine, but I want to see if I can do it by hand. This could take a while. Once you've whipped them up to stiff peaks, you want to set them aside. To a pot of boiling salted water, you want to add your pasta. If your pot's as big as mine is, you could probably get away with cooking them all at one time. Just make sure you give it a little stir around so they don't all stick together. Once you've had them cooking for about 2 minutes and they're perfectly al dente, you want to take them off the heat and strain them. Now it's time to put all this together. Now I can't remember if I told you when I took this off the heat and strained it that I ran cold water all over it to stop the cooking process. So if I didn't tell you, you should do that. The main reason why we're making this is leftover Easter ham. Then it goes with the pasta. Then because I don't have a stirring utensil, I'm going to use my hands just to get these all incorporated. Next we're going to add our little bechamel, egg, cream mixture thingy we made. And it goes. Then we're going to give it a quick mix. Make sure every little bit of pasta is separated and it gets all incorporated with that saucy mixture. Once you got that all mixed in, I'm going to give it a sprinkle with salt just to season it up. Now if you have overly salty ham, you probably have to skip that step. That's completely up to you. Now we want to gently put in our egg whites that we've whipped, and we want to carefully fold this into the pasta. Try not to knock all of the air out that you've got into those egg whites. Alright, now you want to pour your mixture into your baking dish. Get it all leveled out. Then optionally, but highly advised, give it a little sprinkling of breadcrumb over the top. Maybe a little bit more. Now we want to pop this into 180 degrees Celsius preheated oven for about 40 minutes in the middle of the oven. Mine took right on 46 minutes to get to this point, and we need to let this cool down a little bit because if we try to cut into it and eat it now, it's going to cause some serious pain. So let's let it cool down. A common topping to put on this is some crispy onions, but I had some crispy pork skin lying around, so I thought I'd put that on instead. I've let it cool down for way too long. It's time to get me a big old scoop of this stuff. Typically, you'd serve this with a green salad, but I didn't make one. Let's see how we did. So hot. Typically a pasta bake, filled with cheese, super heavy, makes you go into a coma after you have about 4 bites. But this has kind of a light feel to it. It'd probably work well for breakfast as well. And the ham and egg flavour comes through strong. So you could probably eat it for breakfast as well.